recording. We're recording now. Wow. This is our third call?
Third call.
This is the third call of the Ultimate Self-Healing System online program. Here we are.
Our international crew. Yay. So you guys, we all got lots of modules lately, huh? Plenty to do. They got module 2 last week, the bonus module.
Oh, yeah.
For chakras, chords, and splits on Monday. And then we got another little one. Okay, eat and go off screen. And then module 3 today, but we're not going to deal with module 3 at all. So usually I ask if there's any general questions that anyone wants to ask right at the top before we dive into more specifics. Yeah, I loved your comments, Lenka, in the course. I hadn't gotten to responding to ones yet. So awesome.
Thank you. I was just catching up yesterday because I'm kind of falling behind. But yeah, I had some questions and I didn't get through the whole second module yet. But I saw that there was the third one already popping up in the mailbox. I was like, oh my God, the pressure is on.
Oh no.
But it's good. It's like okay, yeah. It's with the business of the life, then it's easy to get lost in the weeks. So it's good that it's coming out and showing and it's reminding.
Yeah.
And I had few questions.
Good.
Yeah, there was for the clearing and the energizing of the meridians. Is there a particular pressure you need to use, or is it the intention which you work with, or how does it work?
So all of the above, and varying depending on what you're doing. And so, for example, sometimes when you work on yourself, you'll touch an area and you'll kind of go, wow, I can feel something there. And sometimes it's a physical feeling, and sometimes it's kind of an energetic, ooh, that's the spot feeling. What's great about tracing meridians and the way that your body relates to what you're doing is that your body has told you what to do, right? When we're asking the questions. So then when you're doing a core talk session with yourself, your body says, run this meridian. When you go to do it, it's already knowing what it wants to do with your help. So it's already aligned with whatever you're going to do. And your intention can be to touch it lightly and feel a very, what would you call that? A kind of
an energetic
feel, or you can touch the points,
physical body,
very deep, very deeply, in anything in between. So sometimes I'll find places where, wow, that feels a little congested. So that's as you get used to where the meridians run, you'll start to notice areas that you touch. Some of them might feel a little bit sore. And that's an area where you can, take a little bit of extra time or not, but it's really showing you that that's the area where there's some congestion.
And if you do feel like touching in, especially, there's certain spots, especially, in the upper chest where the lung meridian and
or the kidney, I feel it's sore there.
Yeah. And so I actually just kind of like to move it around because sometimes the skin will get stuck onto the bones or onto the muscles. So just a little light, rubbing or just movement.
Just to release the fascia. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's very helpful. Yeah. And another incredible spot is the inside of your knees. And from there down, because on the inside of your knees, there's like three meridians going right through a couple inches. And if you touch on the inside of your knees and a little up from there, at least for me, it's like, whoa, okay. there's stuff going on there. So whenever
Yeah.
I feel a sore spot, I just figure it's a signal to feel around a little bit, move, have some movement. And then that just brings all that energizing into that localized tissue.
And just to do a little bit more on why we would touch in different ways. So with the meridians that go from the head down to the feet and then back up the legs, so that would be bladder, kidney, gallbladder, liver, and stomach, spleen. So those are the pairs. The return of that flow in the second meridian of the pair is always up the inside of the legs. And it's in that area where we find down in the feet and the lower legs especially, where the congestion will be that makes it difficult for the second part of the pair to flow. So many times that's a place to go and do a little bit of touch with some massage. And the inside of the legs typically can have soreness and congestion. And
Would you use tapping as well?
use what?
Tapping.
Cupping.
Cupping.
Tapping. No, like tap, like
tapping.
Tapping.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do that. I
Yeah.
find that the tissue, so my take on tapping is that it's a really great way to bring attention to an area. And I love tapping. When you take it to the next level, now you're rubbing and you're really feeling deeply what's going on in the area. So it just gives you more information. And your body is then able to express, because what we feel is on purpose. So when we feel an area and we rub it and we go, ooh, that's tender, that's totally on purpose that we feel that.
So would you associate when there is a tenderness or a soreness or any pain or discomfort when you are touching the meridians or the acupressure points, that there is something with the energy flow?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
Almost always.
Or even tightness in the muscles, like if some people, they have very tight adductor muscles or the inner side of the legs, then it means that there is some disruption of the flow of the energy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what's great is that in the meridian maps that you have that we've made, it does reference muscles that are governed by those specific meridians.
Yeah.
So it really, this is, people, you always hear people say, gosh, I wish there was a user's manual for this thing. And there actually is.
Yeah.
A map energetically of exactly how our bodies are talking to us.
Yeah. And were you guys able to download the meridian map? I went and our body meridians. It's in module 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really awesome. Print it out or even download it onto your phone. Yeah.
So there's actually is in 2 forms, right? It's like that, and then there's the one that's
you have the colored one as well, isn't it? Like with all the meridians.
They're all colored, but one of them is formatted to fit on your phone.
Yeah.
So you can download it on your phone, and it sizes perfectly on the go.
And I don't know, maybe this might be too ahead, but then when you work with someone, would you physically touch them as well?
He does more than I do, but he'll kind of, he's a massage guy kind of. So
it's not required.
But it's not. But like especially the end points, like on kidney, you're right in the soles of their feet. So it's really nice to kind of, give them a little pressure right inside the soles of the feet, so that those ending points especially are woken up, and it's like, hello, here we are, here's the end, let's get this energy out of here, let's get it flowing. So, yeah.
And when you clear it or energize it, would you do it always only once, or then you would go with your intuition, or I don't know if you can see the energy or feel the energy?
So the key is really to ask again. So at when you clear a meridian, then you would say, body, is that balanced now? And if it says yes, well, if it says no, then you would ask, is there
Another.
So in the bonus module that you got, we talk about chords and splits. So chords are something that gets in the way of energy flow. And it's when somebody creates an unfavorable attachment or an unfavorable bond in your chakras. So somebody reaching out unfavorably to you or something that's creating a block of energy.
And we'll talk more about that
Yeah.
module next week. So when everybody has a chance, I'm just checking my notes to make sure. Yeah, we'll talk more about that next week when everybody has a chance to get at that.
Yeah.
But so what, and I realized that, so there's a couple concepts that are, important. And one of them is about how the chakras flow and how they energize up. So it's all about when you know you want to clear, you ask the body about clearing the bladder meridian, then you're like, oh, okay, I clear the bladder down and then energize the kidney up. And that's always how that flow works. If the kidney wants to be cleared, it's kidney down, kidney back up. And and those two are a pair, and all the meridians they're all in pairs, and they all work together like that. So that's one concept. And then the other big overarching concept is this whole thing about talking to your body and about having this sequence of questions, which we started in module 2 about the 4 questions.
The second one, yeah.
Yeah, and so we'll get to that. But the overall thing is with this conversation with the body is that you're going to be asking the 4 questions, making sure you're all here and everything. And then these dialogues with the body that you're going to start having on a regular basis are all about trying to figure out what is at the core of whatever issue you want to talk about. And the sequence of questions within those little dialogues is always very similar, if not almost the same, with the meridians being variables. So you always ask the 4 questions, and then you always go and find out, oh, is this the issue that you want to work on? So you figure out what you want to work on, and then you figure out what age you want to work on it. And then you start asking about the meridians, and you go through as many meridians asking the very similar, is there an emotion stuck in the meridian? Is it anger? Is it the liver meridian? Are there any cords? Do you want to clear it? Clear it. Then you ask those same kind of questions. Is there another emotion stuck about this incident? Oh, is it fear? Is it stuck in the bladder meridian? Oh, no. Oh, is it in the kidney meridian? Are there any cords? Do you want to clear it? Clear. Is there another meridian you want to clear about this incident? So it's all very programmatic in a way, and the idea is to be able to clear all the shit out about that incident completely. And that's why you can feel like at 10:30 last night, I was doing some meridian clearing, and I'm like, another meridian? Really? Isn't that enough? I'm done. No, bladder, no, kidney, okay, oh, liver, oh, spleen, oh, stomach. I'm like, oh, triple, he's asleep. I'm like, triple warmer, oh, central, and I'm like, really? But I was like, no, and I missed one gallbladder, and I had to do it this morning, and then my eyes started getting better. So even though it feels a little tedious, it's like, no, just keep going and just easy peasy. But my point is that there's a sequence, and it's very much the same, and you just go through your emotions and the meridians that they are impacted and clear everything out for that incident. So I know people haven't understood that till much later in the game with these modules. And so I just wanted to get that setting earlier on, right?
Yeah. Anybody have questions about that?
No, that was a, sorry.
Big download. Big down. So then I have a practical way. Did anybody have a question? No. Okay.
Kyla, did
So-
that make sense to you too? Did you kind of have that already, or was that clarifying?
No, I had that already. I think sometimes I find that I would just keep clearing the same one because it would be flushing a lot of emotions. So I would just keep doing it, and that felt good to me, even though I thought maybe I wasn't supposed to do that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's really common too.
oh, is it?
So a practical way to approach this idea of what do I do when I start a core talk session with myself? So you ask the 4 questions, and then because we're learning new material, use the material in the context of what you're going to practice. So for example, today we're doing gallbladder meridian and liver meridian. So they're about rage and anger. So that would be a great thing if you have a few things in your timeline. You could say, body, is there something about this event that happened in my life that relates to the gallbladder or the liver meridian? And if it says yes, then you can go, oh, is that something I should work on now? Yes. Is there anger stuck in my liver meridian? Yes. Would it
Is
be
that from now, or
that-
is that
yeah.
from a certain time?
And if you want to be specific like that, you can.
Well, I think it's helpful because
It's
that's
very helpful.
another thing that really gets to the core of the issue is when you go back to the time that occurred and say, is it stuck at an age younger than 10, age younger than 5? And I think that's also how to find the age is in the 4 questions video.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's one of the videos that was in module 2, and it talks about what 4 questions do you ask before each core talk session.
Should we do those?
Should we do those?
Okay. So with your pendulum, so in the video.
Let's do it. Get your pendulum, everybody.
Did you guys get your pendulums?
Did you get them in the mail, Jen?
Jen? Oh, good.
Woohoo!
Yep. Been practicing with them.
Oh, good.
That's it.
Oh,
So one of the things that happens as you
It's a
get
barking pendulum.
familiar-
yeah. Our dog just was
Our
like,
dog
what?
goes,
What?
Where is that dog?
Does he have a pendulum?
We talk? So you'll notice as you're going to bark. Okay. No
I'll
barking
open the door.
necessary.
You keep
He
talking.
says, I want to talk. You'll notice as you get into practicing these things, and as you hear us to do it, it might be a little bit different than what you heard in the video. So in the video, you're going to hear, am I Greg, or is this Greg? And am I all alone in my auric field? So you're going to want to get yes questions to these.
Answer.
Am I 61? Can you believe it? I'm now 61.
Whoa.
So my pendulum says, yes, I'm 61. And then, is it okay to talk?
So we actually have to back up a little because not everybody, so the calibration. So give me a yes, pendulum.
So it's funny. So you guys can hold it in your,
I know.
we're kind of doing this so you can
So
see,
you can see.
but you can do it wherever your heart chakra or power chakra or some lower, wherever it works for you.
So find your yes.
And you can, and you want to say out loud,
Show me a
pendulum, show me a
yes.
yes. Because it's using all of our ability, all of our facilities with our senses to make us, to allow awareness in our brain and our body so that they can start communicating. That's why we talk. The words actually come out.
And then did everybody get your yes? Yep. Okay, show me a no. So not used to my new no. Jeez.
You have a new no?
Yeah, it's back and forth.
That's weird.
It is weird.
Mine, a yes is like to swing this way, and a no is just, it doesn't even move.
I've had mine do that before. Yep.
All right. Okay.
Now it's all different, and it will change. So don't get freaked out or anything.
So then now let's ask, so shorthand for the, is this Greg, or is am I, is this, what do we say?
Am I here?
Am I here?
Or is this Greg?
Is this me?
My name.
Is this
whatever.
Greg? It's so it's kind of good to use the name at first, because me is general. Me is like, am I me like my mom right now, or am I me like my dog, or
if I had a spirit being, that would be a me, because it's inside of there
be
too.
inhabited. So it's kind of that way where the name actually really makes it clear.
Yeah. And then, am I
This is
alone in
great.
my auric field? And you want to put your hand a little bit away from your auric field, even though I'm
You
in
certainly-
Greg's
You
auric.
certainly can. And it works either way. Your body's going to respond.
Yeah. Yeah, move over, Jen. Jeez.
I was Ashwin.
Uh-oh, yeah.
So that's a little something to work on, maybe.
And then your age. Am I 59? Yes.
61. Yes.
So are you guys getting the yes answers to those, or is there a variance, which would not be surprising?
So here's the variance, especially with the age, and this happens often, where I'll say, am I 61? And I mind saying yes, but if it said no, which now it says no, since you're talking about it, I'll do that. Then you would ask, oh, is there a different age that you want to work on than current?
Yeah.
And then your body is going to lead you to that time, especially knowing kind of what you want to discuss.
Yes.
What do you do if it says you're not alone?
In your auric field.
That can be a little tricky.
Okay.
So address that.
Yeah. So just for your reference, there is a whole video on when you don't get the answers you're expecting to those questions.
Okay.
But in this case, so you moved away out of Ashwin's auric field. Oh, you got
This
it.
guy's not alone.
I'm-
I'm Ashwin, and he's not alone.
I'm getting. There are.
Oh, maybe it's me.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So is it, so try it. Show us, my dear. Ask the question, am I alone in my auric field?
Oh, no, that's you.
Yeah.
For me?
Because you're the one, right?
Am I alone in my auric field? Am I alone in my auric field?
Is that your no? Back and forth? I can't tell.
Am I alone in my auric field? It's saying no.
Okay.
So I would ask right away, is this Jen who's in my auric field? Is it Jen who's in my auric field?
Is this Jen in my auric field? Is this Jen?
Oh.
Oh,
Is this Jen in my auric field? No.
Okay, so the next thing to ask is put your hand about 1.5 feet in front of you, your other hand, and then ask this, am I alone in my auric field?
Am I alone in my auric field? Am I alone in my auric field?
no, it's going horizontal.
Am I alone in my auric field? No.
No.
Okay.
So then you say, well, body, can you tell me who's in there?
Let's do a yes/no question. So we'll
Well,
So-
that's a yes. He said, yeah, I know who it is. But
What I
go-
could ask are my spirit guides in my auric field, right? I mean, I could ask, are my spirit guides or my guardian angels in my auric field?
Or my mother.
you
Or
could,
my, right.
That's who would be in my auric field, and my sister. But you know best who's there, perhaps.
My guardian angels.
Didn't you guys say before that one of the first questions to ask when there is someone in your auric field is if it's someone who's living or not?
Yes, that's a good.
And that can help to start to clarify.
Ask if
Yeah.
they're living or not.
All right. Are they living? Are they living?
Foot and a half.
Foot and a half, it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
No, you're okay. You don't have to have your hand too far out.
Yeah, not anymore
Yeah,
because
that was a certain test.
yeah,
That was to see if you had bugs,
parasites. Right.
parasites,
Oh.
Good
Are they-
news.
Are they
which
living?
most of us do.
Are they living or dead is not a yes or no question, right?
Are they living?
Yeah, you have to ask it one at a time, I think, right?
So
Oh,
is,
right. Are they
is
okay? Hmm. Are they living? Are they living? Are they living? It's anti-clockwise.
It's
So
a yes.
are they living? No.
so maybe it is. I bet it is your spirit guides. Ask it. Are these my spirit
Well,
guides?
that's just
Well, you've said no when it's been doing straight, and you've said no when
No,
it's
no, no.
doing a circle.
no. No is anti-clockwise for me.
What's yes?
Yes is clockwise.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
So you can ask, are these my spirit guides with me?
Are these my spirit guides with me? Are these my spirit guides with me? Are these my spirit guides with me? Yeah, it's starting to go clockwise now.
Awesome.
That's-
See, you knew. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Perfect.
See that?
That's cool, babe.
Good. Tell them to get out of your field. No.
Yeah.
So what we do with that, even when it's our spirit guides or
Someone with good intentions.
someone with good intentions, we say, you know what? I am so glad you're here, but could you please come out of my auric field and sit in this easy chair I have over here? I want you to be comfortable. I'm so glad you're here helping me and that you want to help me, but it really isn't great to have anyone other than me in my auric field. And that's, your body needs to have space in order to be fully itself and be, it's a little confusing to have other spirits and energies right in your auric field, because then you're like, oh, I'm trying to make a decision. Oh, wait. Oh,
Well, and just as an example, almost all people that we see who have really difficult mental situations, where their psychology is messed up, where they can't tell what's what, they're almost all inhabited by multiple beings. And also drug addicts who are really not able to connect with their bodies, almost all being driven by someone else to, literally take the drug. It's amazing.
but it's classic schizophrenia and bipolar. It's all about having different spirit beings inhabiting your auric field. And so that even with the wonderful spirit guides and the loving grandmother or whoever, ask them to sit in the easy chair and have them tell you what they want you to know from there outside your auric field.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yeah.
So why is it that our wise guides would come in that close? Like, wouldn't they know to be with us, but
Hey,
not be right in there?
You'd think so, but wisdom has all different areas of knowing. And it might be that they think, oh my goodness, I have to get in there and tell you this. It's so important. And it's like, the way that some of the wisest people, when they're not being wise, they're overbearing and trying to tell you what to do. They have a really good message, but they're just too close. And you're like, I don't want to hear that. At some point they go, whoops, uh-oh. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're receptive to them.
Right.
So it's like, it's tuning up the whole vessel, because our vessel includes like everything that's around us. And in wisdom traditions that really encompass all that is everything that is a piece of us. So defining and refining how you want those pieces to be in your auric field is really a special tool that you can develop so that you know and you can ask about where the information is coming from and what's really best for me. Because asking what's really best for you when your spirit guides are like, oh, no, do this, that's not going to be helpful, because it's going to skew what your essence is really projecting.
And the spirit guides, though, when you ask what is the best, the highest possible good for me, then your spirit guides will be like, oh yeah, I think I'll go sit in that easy chair over there, and
or be on your shoulder,
or be on your shoulder, or just a little removed. And just one more point about this: as you go into the bonus module, the whole idea about the chakra, the chords in the chakra, is another concept that is very close to this energetic interplay with other spirits and other people that we do every day, right? We come in contact with people, we have our spirit guides there around us, the angels, all of these spirits and all of the people on the earth are energetically, we have an energetic exchange with them. And part of it is these boundaries that we learn to make. And that's part of this course, is really helping those boundaries to have healthy exchanges with the people on the planet and the spirits. And then the chords is another whole psychic connection, energetic attachment that can either attach further and draw people closer to you in a good way or a not so good way, or to push them away. So just saying that's, that's a big concept in this course, is those energetic connections and your energetic hygiene as a person, and your ability to kind of keep your auric field clean and clear just with your energy, and making sure that you don't have somebody else. Those chords are about people trying to get things from you, and they'll send a chord to your heart maybe, or they'll send a chord to your throat to try and make you to shut up.
Has anybody ever experienced that, where you feel like, ooh, they don't want me to say anything?
Yeah. And so they're like bonds are loving connections between people, from the heart to heart, sex to sex, two to two, and intellectually, so many people connect. But the chords are more of a manipulative connection, mostly unconscious, that people will send out when they want a person to act a certain way. When there's abuse or people are trying to manipulate, it's not as unconscious, although most people don't know about courting, but they're actually trying to, and following it up with threats or whatever. So, but these are from one chakra to another chakra in a person, and they are manipulations to make you act or not act a certain way. And that's a chord. And that's part of that bigger energetic connection between people, which is what this question about, am I alone in my auric field, has to do with. Does that make sense? That's another big blah.
That was great. That was really helpful. I have 10 follow-up questions. Actually, just one, I think. I think I've already answered my question, but I still want to hear what you guys advise. when you're in conversation with someone and you're aware that how they're showing up, like, oh, they're unconscious about it, but they're sending a cord my way, and I'm like, no, no, no. How do you do that? No, no, gracefully.
Yeah, really the way what we teach, and you're going to learn this later, and also at the live event we do this, but this way of creating an energetic field that is like it's like a, what do we call
A
it?
shield.
A shield. So we create a shield so that, and when you start hearing and feeling that, whoop, your shield goes up. And
Right.
when you do that, you really feel like, I don't need to react to this. I don't really even need to comment on what they're saying,
Yes.
because I don't want to be pulled into this.
Yes.
And you know, and the common comments would be, "Oh, I'm sorry you feel that way. Oh, that must be difficult. I can imagine that's hard."
I'm
So
looking forward to that.
yeah, the shorthand on the shield is, and this is it's a beginning technique to, and then as you use the shield and make your first shield, then you will develop all different ways of being in your own energy that naturally repels it, where you don't have to think about a shield. But a shield is a very easy way to get started.
Yeah, to visualize it and feel it there. Got it.
Exactly. So you visualize almost, it's basically covers your the amount of your auric field, the range of your auric field all over your body, and you can pick what substance you want that shield to be made of, element or white light, titanium, gold.
Our 10-year-old's daughter's favorite was the night sky.
The starry sky is my shield. I love it. I was like, whoa. Yeah, so you know, unicorns, whatever.
Mine is aloha. It's like, no matter what comes to me, that's what they get.
And the concept is love comes in, love goes out, nothing negative comes in at all. And when you know, my tactic is when I know those people, and that's part of the great exercise, is like, oh, they're trying to court me.
Yeah, their eyes get a little bit bigger, and
yep, and take note. And then you're like, okay, that person courts me. Next time I'm on the phone, because it happens over the phone. It can happen over text messages, over email, Zoom. On Zoom. It can happen anywhere because they're just throwing their energy at you, right? So the next time you know you're going to be in contact with that person in any way, or you open their email, okay, I'll put my shield up. And then you just know to do that. And that becomes like, oh, look, they're trying to court me. Zip.
Got it. Thank you. That was helpful.
And then
you just do the best you can too.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're 3 levels deep into the emotional interaction with that person.
Right.
Like, oh my goodness, this is happening again. I don't like this. And you just do the best you can.
Okay.
Just try to gracefully, you know, bring yourself into balance as much as you can. It's just so much happens, especially with people who are really close to you.
Family.
And they're not trying to be nasty.
Yeah.
You don't know where they're coming from, you know, the moments before. I mean, even with the people you love the most, we have plenty of interactions between us that are like just a little snarly, you know? And it's like it's not about the other person, but without some awareness, that snarl that the person is putting out, they're like, why aren't you engaging with me? You're like, sorry you feel that way. And as you do that with people who are a little bit snarly with you, especially those who are really not very conscious and they're reaching out with this kind of negative energy all the time, when you
picture
don't
it.
react, they'll all of us after a while, they're like, I'm not even going to talk to you anymore.
It changes the dynamic.
They
Right.
don't try anymore because it's not working.
Right, they're not getting the attention or whatever it is. I don't even know what they're seeking. Whatever it is they're seeking.
I think unconsciously or consciously, we have gotten really good at it with certain people in our lives, isn't it?
He's gotten great at it. I still notice certain people when they come around. It feels like my entire system is shaking with fear. And just recently, I found the presence to be able to just stand, witness. Like Ashwin said, I looked very confident and calm and peaceful, but on the inside, it felt like there was a volcano erupting and an earthquake happening and a hurricane going on all at once. So
does anybody else ever feel that way? Yeah.
Yeah, it was like my nervous system is what it was. So he's gotten better at it. I'm getting better at it.
So your homework is, all of your homework actually is to choose, if you care to, is to choose what your shield is made out of. And you can dream it. Just dream it. It's so fun. You know? And then the other side, which I have had such an interesting journey, is that we can send cords to other people as well, right?
We do.
We do. So it's not just coming in and people trying to manipulate us, but on occasion we could do that to other people as well.
Yeah.
And and it's especially true in families, and primary relationships, and it's so natural. And so I even found, after I had talked to my body, because this is something my family has done for generations, so breaking that familiar trait, and then so I have been like talking to my body, I don't want to sit, I don't want to do any cording, I don't want to get any cords, body, let's not do that anymore. Let's use our words, basically, talking to my toddler body sometimes. So then I went, and something big was happening, and I went to a friend, or I was with a friend, and she goes, she's an angel person, and she goes, you have blue cords coming out your back going to X. I'm like, out my back? Seriously? Because they're like, the old habits are like still wanting to be there and wanting to control a situation and wanting somebody to do what I want them to do. But because I had talked about, no, don't, it's like, I'm still going to do it out this way.
You can't see it back here.
I couldn't see him. I'm like, what?
Might hold you back a little bit.
So your body just has these lovely sense of humor and kind of, okay, if I can't do it that way, let's do it another way.
And can you train the resistance of the shield? Because like talking about fear and the family members, and I grew up in the family where fear was used to control us. And I think I have really strong connection with my father, and I never understood like, why is this happening? But as I'm learning more, then I'm starting to understand that he is actually putting his fear cords on me, and he is hooking me up. And I remember I was pregnant with our second one, and we were with my parents, and he kept going on about something, and I was just like, no, I'm not taking it in. I'm not going that road. I'm just like, I'm not taking in that fear. And then after, I don't know, I think 10 minutes, it just snapped. And I don't know if I was more sensitive as well when I was pregnant, but I just couldn't bear it anymore. And then it was the volcano eruption, but it was everything outside. So,
so think of it, because you have had your entire life probably with him doing that.
Yeah, and it's still happening. And but then I just like when you were talking about it, I know that I am probably doing a similar thing because I would like them to be happy, and I would like, and this is where I'm stopping myself from doing it and leaving there the space. But how do you keep the shield on, that even if there is this kind of like when they insist and they keep doing, like the same thing, or even when you're talking to them and you just know in your head that you don't want to go that road and you are not like that anymore, but would you imagine keep calling in the shield again and again and again, or how do you, or can you strengthen the shield? I don't know, just, would you have any other technique to use?
Yeah. So the easiest to remember and the most effective is to come into the moment. And the easiest way to do that is with your breath. So that will solve all of that problem of feeling like you're being pulled back and forth, because those are always about fear of what's happened or fear and anxiety about what's going to happen. You come into the moment and you can make your shield connected to the moment and part of your breath. So, it's like all the sci-fi things where people are able to, press their laser button and things happen. Your breath is that thing. It's that super sauce and like just superpower. It is the constellation of our body, is our breath. Everything is initiated in real time through our breath. When we hold our breath, eventually real time stops. When we breathe on the real moment. Everything is happening in the moment. The diaphragm muscle itself is connected and governed by the lung meridian. So the two are in concert with each other to keep you alive in the moment. And then when you connect your shield with that physical action, it gives you grounding and ability to really focus. And so it's like a habit to think whenever something starts to happen, you think, oh, breath. And then everything comes into alignment of how you want it to be, because you've been able to create that in the past. And the breath is the update.
And especially with the family members, because you grew up with them and they were programming you for, let's say, 30 years, or I don't know how long, like they probably will be doing it, and we are doing it back to them as well.
Yes.
Can you, I lost the question now, what I wanted to ask.
I think I know what you're,
it's just because it's there, and if you clear the meridians, you deal with the issue, you go through your timeline, and then you come back into the same environment, and it's from my experience, I can hold it for 2-3 days, but then it starts like crumbling everything again, and I feel like I'm being pulled back into the old patterns, old energies, and I'm just like observing myself and like, what am I saying? What am I doing? Like, this is not me now. So
the next thing is that when you're asking your body if it needs to clear a meridian, before you clear that meridian about that specific issue, you ask if there are any cords. And are there cords coming in? Are they cords going out? And this is all in the bonus thing. So that's why that bonus module is crazy.
Bonus.
Yeah. And then you take out the cords or you bring them back in. And that whole method is in there about how to do it. And that, when you do it over and over again with the issues with each meridian, and you take those cords out, then after you've been doing that a little bit, when it happens in real time, it has less pull on you because the history is disappearing. The historical markers, the energetic markers and holds that they've had on you are gone. And that frees up your ability to stay in the moment, stay present, keep your shield up, and basically step sideways and let their thing go on by. And the real cool thing is that, like we had mentioned before, when they see they're not getting their reaction, their behavior changes. And it does take time, especially with parents and sibs. It absolutely takes time, but it happens. And your whole family structure starts changing.
Thank
And
you.
it isn't that they would stop doing it to everyone, but they'll stop doing it to you because it doesn't work anymore.
Right.
I unknowingly, unaware of what I was doing, I must have given everybody's cords back at some point. My family, not to these other people, but to my family, because they all started acting differently around me, to the point where each individually, my mom, my dad, and my brother would come to me in private and be like, how are you getting mom to listen to you? How are you getting Jonathan to listen to you? How are you? Well, I didn't know the answer, because the answer was something that I did a whole lot of inner work. Like, I didn't have an answer for them other than I saw some crazy stuff up in here and I loved it, and I loved it up and I let it go. But now I'm clear that it was, those chords, when you did this movement, that is like, they'll say something. I'm just like, oh, okay, that sounds tough. There's even like, you can even do that physical movement. So that's cool to see that if I can do it there, I can do it with these other folks.
Absolutely. And it's even easier because they're not your family.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, and one of the challenges as you work with energy that's coming into your body, or when you have energy that's going out and kind of putting place markers in places because you want something to happen. One of the difficulties with this whole energetic reality in our life is that as we've gone through time, each moment of experience has an energetic setting to it. And our brain, much of our lives, until you become more aware of how things are going, our brain is taking everything in as if this is history and it's the most important book I ever read. And I just have to remember all of this because I have to make sure that I can avoid any situation where it's going to be unsafe. So that's kind of our brain's capacity meter is, let me check out what's really happening to make sure that the worst thing doesn't happen right now. So we have to kind of, in talking about the shield and staying in the moment, it's important to realize, the thoughts that I'm having that feel unbalanced and make me uneasy right now are not really about something that's happening now. It's about, because then you look at it and you go, so is there something wrong here? Am I safe? Am I at risk? Is somebody attacking me? Am I need to attack somebody else? You get no's to all those, and then you say, wow, Brain, you're really interesting. I appreciate your ability to have this historic view of what's going on right now, but I kind of disagree. I feel okay. And my breath proves it. My shield is protecting me. So it's kind of like
it's that worst, and he's describing your brain making up the worst case scenario
so over
in order
time
to protect yourself. Right?
So in parallel with this work that we're doing energetically with our communication system through the meridians, we can also be doing a historic improvement of what our brain is viewing. And so instead of, what our brain does is it collects all the worst case scenarios as we go. What we can do is we can look back and we can disprove it. We can say, there was a lot of really good stuff that happened in my life. So in the timeline, you can also put in good things.
Yes, put in good things.
And then I think I might have mentioned last week, this guy, Rick Hansen, wrote the book Buddha Brain. And it's all of this complicated neurology in the first 50 pages, and he loves it. And I kind of love it. It's kind of complicated. But then he starts to get into the practical part. And one of the Buddhist things to try to reduce human suffering is to look at the good stuff that happened and create a bank of good stuff in your brain, so that when things go wire crazy and your brain starts doing its thing, you go, nah, there really are good things. You just have to remember to flip that switch. Then your brain goes, huh? Oh, good things. Oh, yeah, yeah. But it has to become a habit to do it. So it's like neurologists talk about the 30-day brush your teeth with little kids, all the way up until like 26, 27 days, 28 days. If you don't wake them up in the morning and say, hey, would you like to brush your teeth? Of course, they're going to say no, but no, let's go brush your teeth. And around 30 or so, they get up in the morning and they eat, and then they go brush their teeth. But up until that point, the brain is too elastic to do its own thing. And you have to put it into the right module kind of how you want it to think, so that it will work for you instead of against you.
And the easiest way to do that, because I'm famous for worst case scenarios and bears eating my children and getting lost in the woods and all of that. And I have to be, okay, I have a roof over my head. I have food in the refrigerator. I am warm and safe. Start with the basics, and then you can work up from there. Oh yeah, I have a great partner, work up, because it's really good to remember how fortunate we all are, as compared to the rest of the world. I mean, when we say, oh yeah, awesome roof over my head, awesome food in the refrigerator, I got a bed to sleep in, and all, start with the basics.
I have a toilet.
I have a toilet inside. It's really good. So, and just remind your body, because your body goes into these things and it's like you're gonna die. At least I know for me, and my heart starts racing, and all of a sudden I'm in fight and flight, and I think somebody's gonna die. And then it's like, and it's usually the kids or something. The kids are it's always like that way. But so it's like, no, okay, let's get back to right here, right now, 2 a.m. Here I am. I'm in a nice bed. I have a roof over my head. I had dinner. I get to have breakfast in the morning. And I, love what I do. And that is the primeval training of the brain. So you have
untraining
or untrained, helping your brain get out of that, and the amphibious state of that old wiring, right?
Which is
and
actually
updating it.
Which is actually a physical thing in your brain.
Right.
So it's like when you get stressed and anxious, the amygdala in the brain, it flips forward, and it goes into this reptilian state, and it's really documented that it's an unhealthy state. So the more that you're in that, and what's happened in your experiences through life up to now, there were a bunch of those. So it's like you have to soothe your brain with this beautiful love, which is of course the fix of all these things, and then figuring out what that love is for you and how you're going to serve yourself with self-love. Because that's what allows the body to say, wow, this is cool.
I am loved.
I'm loved.
I am loved.
Uh-oh, we switched to love now.
I am loved. Oh.
That is the self-healing system.
There you go.
It's the thing. Yeah.
So we haven't even done liver and gallbladder yet. Do you
Oh
want
my
to do
goodness.
that really quick?
You guys
And
have
then
a
we
minute?
gotta go. 1 minute?
Okay.
Maybe 2 minutes.
So,
Okay.
yeah, live.
I'll do the, yeah.
What do you
Go.
want to do?
I'm in the camera and I'm.
Oh.
I'm
I'm going to start here. So gallbladder is it's just it has some stuff. So corner of the eye, and if you do your mouth, you can feel where the muscles move. So corner of the eye to the little tragus of the ear, and it goes up into the temples a bit, and it comes down to the middle of the ear, and a little bit in back,
A little
and
crown.
then to the back of the ear, and then comes over, and as if it were going to go right in the middle, and it comes back again. And
Oh, we can't hear him.
Uh-oh. Oh, because he went too far away, probably. See, it's the bad hair day meridian.
so then it comes down in here, and now goes to the back of the hips. So the leg bone goes to the back of your leg bone as we go down. And it isn't all the way in back, but going down and going to the fourth toe.
Can't see.
Ooh, let me run into that. And then up the liver meridian. Of course, we're doing this on both sides when we do it. And up through the pelvis into underneath the rib cage. And so what Antonio was talking about before, if your body said, I just want to do the liver meridian, then it would start here, go down the leg to the inside of the toe, and come back up on both sides, and go under.
Liver and gallbladder are a pair.
Yeah.
And that's the gallbladder's the hardest one in the whole darn thing.
It
Just
is.
because it's all like.
Yeah, so you can look at the detail of that in the diagram, and it'll give you a little bit more. If you ever want to, if you're curious about exactly all the points, which is not necessary in this work, but you can go on and you can look at it, and there's like all these very specific spots where acupuncturists put needles and acupressurists do, they combine different points. But it's not necessary in this work, because we're really doing what the body is telling us to do as far as run this energy. It's about this emotion. It's about being able to clear that energetic experience that we had.
That makes sense. That was a whole lot of stuff.
Oh my goodness.
Does anybody have any questions or ahas or?
Lots of ahas, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like an aha fest. It's like there's so many.
I love that.
I remember years ago, after we'd started doing this work, like the first 5 years or so, I'd ask all these questions. So how does this work? What emotions, how do they get into the body? How do they get out of the body? It was like, oh my God, it's so confusing. And now it's like, feels like nuts and bolts. I feel like I have this really simple car, and everything, the bolts and nuts, they just go on easily, and so it'll get that way. But the kind of the view is what's important, to understand that your body knows exactly how to do all this stuff. In your brain, you don't have to know it. You're gonna get it over time.
Kyla, is it getting more nuts and bolts for you?
Some things. Yeah.
Yeah. It also depends on what you're dealing with too.
Yeah, right.
All righty.
All right, guys.
I think we've done it.
You are awesome.
That was so fun.
Thanks, guys.
So
You're
much.
welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here.
Put any questions in the Facebook
Yeah.
page or whatever you want. In the course, you can write and we'll respond.
Cool.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
See you. Bye.
Welcome.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
I love you all.